Okay, back to the presentation. So, all right, here's what we're looking for today as our goals is to build assignments for students. It's probably what you mostly wanted to do anyways. SeeSaw communication to families. We talked about that last time. Lori's going to show you how students use SeeSaw, so you can see some reflections from students. I think we might have gone into that a little bit last time, but we'll go into it a little more, as well as providing feedback to students, and then inviting parents to SeeSaw. And then we talked a lot about confidentiality, and we looked into that, and that should not be a problem. So confidentiality, in other words, if you want to assign assignments to just 3 students in the class and you only want those 3 students to see it, that's not a problem. Again, that's the website, mrbull.com/Riverdale. And a reminder of how it works. Teachers browse the activity library or create their own. You choose an activity or create your own, share it with students. Students respond using their SeeSaw tools, which are, they can draw, they can speak, they can video, they can add links. And as a teacher, you approve that. And probably in this situation, you're not going to allow students to see each other's work, but in a classroom, you probably would. And that's the important part about approving. And also parents get to see anything that's approved for their child. So if they did something wrong and you don't want to look like a bad teacher, you can just not approve it and have them redo it. So that's up to you. That way it ensures that we all look good. And then families see their child's work and conversations grow. The families become incredibly happy. They're all that much closer. And then later when the parents retire, their kids do pay for them. And then teachers browse the library and it starts all over again. So that much we knew. So here's assigning an activity from the community. We talked about a little bit about that last time. And here's a video I have. Now I keep these videos pretty short. And the reason I'm showing this video rather than doing it live is this is the same screencast video that is on the website. So if you need to look at it tomorrow or today or whatever, you can do that. All right, here's the video. Nothing like watching myself. You can create your own assignments, but you can also grab assignments from the community, and that community can be everybody at your school. So I'm going to go up to the plus button here to add, and this time I'm going to select add activity. And it shows my library, all the stuff that I have in it, but I can click over to school, and I can see the stuff in my school. Now this is defaulted to 7th grade, so there's not much there for 7th grade because we don't really use it so much at that level. Rather, it's more down here like 2nd grade. You can see all the work that's in here that other teachers have done. So as people at your school do more work, you'll see it there in the community, and you might just want to hit all right there like that. So these are activities that you can grab if you want to and use them. They're already prepared and done for you. Over here, it's just the general community all over the place. This is all of SeeSaw, so that's much larger, and you can type in your grades. See, let's go back to 1st grade here, and put in your activities, maybe a reading activity, which is going to be pretty wide, and you'll see all kinds of stuff there that's already there for you, and it gives you some ideas. So you don't have to make everything yourself. You can borrow from others in the community. Okay, there we go. Let me escape out of that. Oops. You can create your own assignments, but you can also grab assignments twice. Probably not. All right, why don't we give it a try? So head into SeeSaw and click on that plus button, and then click on community and see what assignment you can just sort of borrow from a community. You can always just assign it to the sample student if you want instead. And I'll go ahead and unshare just so there'll be less traffic that you have to look at. And if you have questions, let me know.
Can you say that again? Where do we find that?
Yeah, so if you log into seesaw.me, and then you should see, once you're in your classes, you should see a plus button there.
What is it, a green plus button that says add underneath it?
Yeah, it was right there at the top, and if you select it, then you're going to see various, the 3 options, one of them being community. I'm going to pull mine up here.
I don't have that option.
Uh-oh. Let me get mine going.
Yeah, I can share mine, but you need to enable screen sharing.
Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and share mine real quick because I already have it up.
Okay.
So you can see it here. It should look like this. Like this is my class here, my test class, and here's my add button. So I click on that. Then I have assign activity. And when I go to that, then I have community. And that's where you can just borrow something.
First you go to assign activity. Okay.
And then you'll see all that community school in my library.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question too. If I missed the first one, sorry, I'm Christy. If I missed the first section, am I not going to be signed up on seesaw.me?
You should already have an account that your school took that set up for you. So we didn't talk about that or set that up in the first one. I actually don't have anything to do with that. Your district does that. So you should be able to log in using your school Gmail account at seesaw.me. Not you, not her, not him, but me.
Okay. I am not quite there yet. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, Sue, go
Christy,
ahead.
you'll be able to add, so Christy is a specialist and you'll be able to be a teacher on other people's accounts. So teachers will send you an invite to get into theirs and be a teacher on theirs.
So if Christy, if you don't see any classes, maybe somebody could send Christy an invite so she won't feel left
Christy,
out.
I can send you an invite right now.
Oh,
There we
thanks,
go.
Lauren. Okay.
Our expert.
Great.
Okay, I have a question. So I found this activity. I assigned it. I tried to assign it to my sample student, and I get this thing that says it's like a different menu. It says activity assigned. Step 1, students sign in. Step 2, students respond. And there's nothing else I can do other than X out of that. But when I go into my sample student, it's empty.
Okay, let me check that. I'm going to assign to my sample student as well. And so I see it in there. Let me try. I can try my screen.
I put it in the my resource room sample student.
And do you see it like this? Like I just assigned this one. What traits do scientists have? I just grabbed that from that community. Does it look like this for you?
No, it looks like it's a big thing that covers up the whole activity, and it says assign activity. Assign this PE virtual growth gym with your students and collect the responses. Okay, so I click on the student I want it to go to,
Right.
student. Then I get this thing, and the only option is to X out of it, and it just says, oh, wait a minute, now it's not letting me do that anymore. Hang on.
Hey, Mike, can I just show step by step? And then for people that need it,
Absolutely.
people can practice if you don't need this support. And then if you want support, I'll just go through a whole lesson.
That sounds like a good idea. And you have the powers now.
I've got the power.
And if people have questions in the chat room, I can monitor that right now while Lori's going.
So add, assign activity. Community. Okay. So Sue, I'm guessing you were here where it says assign. Yeah? Okay, so push assign. And then you should get this assign activity, assign my friend and me writing with your students. Okay, so this is where you can edit. You can click to all of your students. I only had 8, but I can edit here and I could choose one. So I'm gonna choose Sarah down here. And then I go back up and I hit the green button.
Yep.
Okay. And
And
so
I get a different screen. Oh, wait, hang on. So I'm just doing it to my sample student.
okay.
Assigned to one class. And then go ahead and hit assign to one class and see what happens.
Me?
Well, the next screen is the one that one. How do I get past this?
No, it says
okay.
activity. So it says activity assigned. So you've assigned it to your class or your sample student. So yeah, so then they sign in to get your assignment and then they'll respond. That's just telling you that you successfully added your assignment.
And at the bottom
When I
there,
go back to that student, there's nothing in his folder.
Lori, would you click the view in the ILC there at the bottom after you hit assign?
So it says sample student, 0 items.
Where, Mike, where? Here?
Go ahead, assign to one class.
I wonder if Sue remembered to, you have to hit the green check mark in the upper right-hand corner to make sure that it gets assigned.
I thought I did. Let me try
Okay.
again. Yeah, it's an assign.
And then assign to one class. And then Lori, at the bottom there is view activity in ILC. So if you click on that view activity in whatever the name of your class is, you should see it like that.
So I click on the green arrow at the top, and then I have to choose my sample student. I click on the green arrow again, assign it to one class. I get that thing I just showed you. So I go back to my class, and the sample student is empty. There's
So
nothing.
Sue, Mike had a good point. So let's assign it again. I'm going to just do it again.
You can assign to all of them. Doesn't matter because it's
We're
practice.
Well, I can't, Mike, because my students are going to be getting them.
Oh, okay.
And they're
Okay.
not my students anymore.
Okay, right.
I really can't
So remember,
be assigning assignments to students I don't have anymore. And then I click the green arrow. Yeah, one student, one folder, assigned to one class. Now, Sue, right down here, look, there's a little link.
Uh-huh.
Click on that one.
Okay, I gotta get back to it. Assign this. Okay.
and so we can go out a little. If towards the end, when the end of the session today, we can give you some time just to do a one-on-one. You could share your screen and we can work through any problems.
Okay. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
So if you click on that button, Sue, then it'll shows me that I assigned this to.
I don't have that link.
So that doesn't pop up. Okay. So if you don't mind, we'll go ahead and do it towards the end. We'll have you share your screen and we'll run through it so we can keep
Okay, I'm
everything
gonna stop
flowing.
sharing.
All right. Why don't we go ahead and move on to the next thing, which is sort of a repeat of what we've done, but it's just doing your own work instead. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. You guys may be already doing all this already, but. Okay, this is assigning work that you create instead. So it's just pretty much similar to what you just did, except now there's a few more options for you to change the work. Come on, YouTube. Let's learn now how to assign activities. Probably the most exciting part, certainly probably the most important part of using SeeSaw. So I'll head over here to my plus button and then click on Assign Activity. Now it comes right back to a screen you may have come to already. There's the community here with all the stuff, but we're going to stay in my library. Any work that I've had done in the past is available for me to reuse, which is really great if 6 months down the line I want to reuse something, or next year I want to reuse some of the same content. Going to hit Create New Activity here, and I will call this, how about flowers in Oregon? And you put your instructions here. Instructions, T-I-O-N-S here. And if you want to, you can add voice instructions here. Just clicking on that, and that could be nice for really any grade level. Multimedia instructions would include things like a photo, drawing, video, link, let's say a YouTube link or something you've recorded and sent up to YouTube or sent to Google Drive or something. Notes, you probably never use it. And then upload, where you would upload things like a PDF. There's those options there. Here's where you add a template for students to respond. So if you have like a worksheet you want them to respond onto, you can do that here. And here's these other things that you may not use so much. You'll probably use the upload feature there the most. Then we're going to hit save here. Perfect. And then we're going to assign it. And when we assign it, we have some choices. By the default, it's going to assign it when I click here to the entire class. If I want to, I can click on Edit Students, and I can uncheck this and just assign it to sample student there. So that if you only have a few students in your class and you want to protect privacy, that's how you can assign those specifically to those students. You can schedule it here if you want to. So at a different date, which is probably how you'll use it. You can imagine working on a Sunday night or something and scheduling out a week's worth of assignments for students. You can always go back in later and edit it and change it. If you say, hey, that was going to be Wednesday, but wow, my kids are awesome, we can do it on Tuesday. They're moving so fast. Assign to the one class. Then let's take a look. I'm going to click here. And you can see how this is assigned to one student, Flowers in Oregon, right here. And these are all actually assigned to one student. But you can see down here, this is assigned to all students in the class. So that gives you an idea of how that works. Go ahead and give it a try. All right, go ahead and give it a try. Let's learn. And then I can, after that, why don't you go ahead and give it a try, and then in a moment I'll talk about icon shortcuts, which are really important for the younger grades especially.
Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
My name's Leslie Mailer, and I am a substitute teacher, and I sub for all these people on the call, and just found out that I've been approved to sub for this fall, whatever, how long this COVID craziness is. And I set myself up with an independent SeeSaw account. Should I go back to our tech people and have them assign me account? Would that be easier? Like, let's say, you know, Riley is sick and calls me on a Sunday night and says, I need you Monday morning. How do I step in for Riley is what I'm asking you.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is for the district to give you a Google account. They'd have to give you a Google account, and then they add you to the SeeSaw platform, and then then you'll become a guest teacher in whatever classes you happen to be in. That way, when you're not working in that classroom, the teacher comes back, all that work's still there, all the students are still there. Also, then the district can populate that class with the students. Otherwise, you're responsible for chasing down that, and you're going to be nagging people like, give me that list of students, I have to add them on. You know, they can take care of that for you. So hopefully they won't resist that.
And that's easy for Riley to say, you know, for her to assign me as the guest teachers. I'm assuming that's the teacher has to assign me?
Yeah, or the district can't do it. The administrator on the back end can do it, but Riley can as well, no problem.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And that'll be super easy for you. Then you're just gonna go to work. You're not gonna have to worry about setting all this stuff up. And then you're like, did I get it right? I'm new to this. You don't want that hassle.
Got it. Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Hi, Michael. I'm kind of on the same lines too. Sorry. So Lauren invited me to her class to join as a co-teacher.
Uh-huh.
She sent the app very thoughtfully, and I open it up, and it pops up create an account. I sign up as a teacher. Do I need to go through that piece?
Yeah. So it probably just needs to attach your email address or something to. You just have to sign in for the first time, and as long as you use your school provided Google account, it shouldn't be a problem. Because that's how it identifies you. Liz?
I can help Leslie and Christy and anyone else who needs some support on just getting those accounts set up. I've been helping the tech person get people signed up and logged in. So at a later point, if we want to meet up, I can do that.
Thank you, Liz.
Michael, can you show us again just where on the screen is the create your own assignment tab? I don't see it on my screen.
So when you hit the plus button, Laura, do you want to show real quick? Do you want to share? And I'll just talk about it in advance. When you hit the plus button, then then you have assign activity, and from there you'll have community, school, and then creating your own activity. But Lori will show it in just a moment here.
Mine says community, school, my library.
And then there should be one more tab there.
I wonder if I have the wrong account or something. This is an account I started last spring. Because I don't have a lot of this stuff.
Did you sign in using your school Gmail account?
Last spring?
Today.
No, I just signed in using the same password that I used last spring.
But which email address did you use? Did you use a personal one or your school one?
It was already auto. I don't know. It's auto saved from last spring.
That could be the whole issue.
Okay.
So we'll want to make sure that you log in.
On the Riverdale site if you did it last spring because we got that this fall.
Say that again, Heidi.
I said you also won't be on the Riverdale group one because we didn't get that till this fall, so you'll want to log in through that one through your Gmail account.
I see all the teachers that have invited me in as a co-teacher, so I assume that I was on the same one as everybody, but I'm clearly not. So maybe Liz, maybe you can help me also get the right account. Okay.
All Riverdale emails were, if you started one with your Riverdale account in the fall or in the spring, they all were automatically added to the Riverdale site.
That's actually not true, Riley. Jeff is adding only people a little at a time, but I can make sure that people are have the account they need.
They should merge. Like we had that at our school where we had individual accounts. So we went to the school version, and then they merged everything from the individual accounts to the school version. So they should do that. Your administrator should do that on the back end. It's only one click for them to do it, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Liz, you have administrative rights to this. You can do that for us. No?
Do you want administrative rights? Oh, you do? Oh, cool. Well, they ask them to get Liz. If I can hack my way in, I'll give it to her. By the way, am I sharing still? Yeah, I am. You can see the SeeSaw icon shortcuts. This is on the website as well, so you can get the PDF, the larger version of this. And so if you want to have your kids do a video, you can type :video : and then that icon will pop up. So when you're writing out your instructions, camera roll then the camera roll will pop up. So try that out while you're doing instructions. Again, this is on the website. There's a PDF there that you can download because this is probably something you'll want to keep, print out, I don't know, whatever. But, especially like microphone, please record for, younger kids to have a microphone there showing them that's really going to help.
Where
that
is
microphone matches it.
Where do we find this?
Do you see it on my screen?
My Zoom is on my phone, so I really can't see
Oh,
details.
No problem. So it is also at mrbol.com/Riverdale,
Okay.
and
Great.
that will be there always.
Okay, thank you.
Is it on the SeeSaw site somewhere?
Yeah, if you, I just Googled it, is how I found it. I just typed like SeeSaw icon shortcuts SeeSaw. But it's on my website. Probably might be the easiest way to get to it. I link to the actual Google one anyways. And Allison asked how I do the recordings. I use a program called ScreenFlow, which is a little bit different than Screencastify, but Screencastify is awesome. I have to do a green screen setup and all that nerdy stuff. You can probably see the green screen in the back there.
And Michael, I'm sorry, it's mrbowl.com/Riverdale.
That's correct.
Thank you.
And no dot between Mr. and Bowl.
Yes.
Students always do that. They go mr.bowl.com. Like, no. And Allison just put a link to the shortcuts in the chat room. Thank you, Allison. I can talk a little bit about logging in. So for students, there's two ways to log in. It depends on how your school set it up, but I believe you set it up with the expectation that all students will log into SeeSaw via their Gmail account. For younger kids, you can do something called home learning codes where they don't have to do that. They just get a code that they use to log in. But if you're already set up for everybody to use the Gmail account, then that's fine. Just with the younger kids, their parents will have to help. In the classroom, you'd have QR codes around the room and the kids would hold up their device and it would scan right into SeeSaw. It's awesome. But you obviously can't do that at home so easily.
Hey guys, can I double check something? Do we
Sure.
agree that the kids are going to sign in with their Gmail accounts? Am I remembering that correctly? So I just set myself up as a student on my home account and tried it, and it didn't work. So I think I just want to make sure we are good to go. So it's something we may want to check out as a group.
So you added yourself with like your own personal account, right?
Right. So I said, I just made up a name and I sent it to my personal account, and
Right.
I sent the code for the parents to sign up, and it isn't working.
Oh, for a parent sign up. But you
Well, to
worked though.
enroll the kid.
Lisa, remember how we tried that out with Braden, with my son, Allison?
Yeah.
It worked. So I'm not sure. What
Okay.
Allison did was she created each account with the Gmail and the password that Jeff sent us. And then I used the email and password that Suzanne emailed me as a parent for Braden. And I was able to log in.
Okay,
So-
I'll give it another shot.
Is that the home learning code? I'm just confused about all these different passwords. Like they have a home learning code, but then they have a separate password in Gmail. I'm
Okay.
not, it seems like there's so many different things.
Yeah, so there's like 5 different ways students can log into SeeSaw. However, your school is using only one, thankfully. And your school, it sounds like, is using just Gmail only to log in. So each student has their own Google account, their own Gmail account, and then they log in with that. And that's it. Now, the home learning codes are other ways to log in. QR codes are other ways to log in. I don't think you're going to be using that. You're just using that Gmail account. So
It's
when
really
a student's
important we all do the
having
same
problems,
thing.
yeah, you just repeat, use your school provided Gmail account to log
Do
in.
they have to even use their password, or can't they just log in using their Gmail account? Do they need a password too, or they just type in their account and they're done?
They'll just
Can
need
you
their
show us
Gmail
what
account
it might look
password.
like from the student point when they're trying to sign in?
Yeah, let me see if I can do that. I'll go to, I'll see if I can go
So
to.
Michelle, what exactly did you send to families? What do I need to send to families?
I'll
I've
cover
sent
that in a
nothing yet.
moment.
I've sent nothing. Allison just, because I'm a teacher, she just told me that Braden's, we did it during our meet, but I've sent nothing out to families. I don't think anybody has.
So Allison gave you Braden, so we need to give the families that.
No, Kate, Allison just set up her class. And so I knew because she told me. Suzanne emailed all of the families their usernames and passwords for Riverdale for their Gmail accounts. So I just used that information, not from Allison. So we don't even have to do that.
Can you do me a huge favor and see if Landon's works? Because I got all of them in my.
Hey guys, can I recommend that we just keep going and that we troubleshoot after? We only have like another half hour with him, and I want to make sure that it's beneficial for everybody. Is that okay? And then we can come back around and answer questions.
Sure, we can save our questions till the end. Might help. Just real quick for a login, I'll show you here. So students will click login, and they'll say I'm a student, and then they'll log in with Google right up here. Here's where their home learning codes and all that go. Don't worry about those. You're not using those, but they sign in with Google right here. The advantage of home learning codes is they don't have to know their username in Google, and they don't have to know that password. With the home learning code, they just pop in the code right here. So just for long-term, that is a possibility for login if you find your kindergartners or first graders or second graders are suffering. All right, so moving on a bit here. Get this going. So we've tried it. You can edit your assignments and folders as well. So you can create folders, which is especially useful for elementary teachers, right? Because you guys teach all the subjects. Now, there are some edits and changes you can make after you put together an activity. So we have this activity here, a Good Night iPad reading. I'm going to click these 3 dots here, and I'm going to go into Edit Activity. And there's some cool choices down here. We'll go to more options here, and we'll start with that. You can add some teacher notes if you want to. And down below that is folders. So if you want, you can set up folders in advance, and you might find this helpful. So for example, I'll create a reading folder, and I can color it however I want. And hit the plus button there. Oops, sorry, that one there. And I'm done with folders, just that one. And then I can see it's been assigned there to the reading folder. So any kind of reading that I do, I can put it in the reading folder. You get a math folder, it's whatever you want. These are skills down here if you want to use. I probably wouldn't jump into that yet unless you're already using skills specifically at your school. You can set up all the skills and then assign a skill to the particular assignment. This is nice here. This is when you assign it. So you can assign it immediately, or you can choose a specific date or time. So let's say I want it to be on the 21st at 9:58, and that would be it. So that's pretty powerful. Lastly, you do have a template for student responses. So you can click on this here and you can draw one. And this template you can use or reuse for additional reading assignments. So you might have the same reading reflection template that you use for the majority of your reading assignments. And so that would be easy for you just to stick that right on in there. All right, give it a try. All right, why don't you go ahead and try editing an assignment, just click around there a little bit. So that's the easy way to change dates, change your templates, and those sorts of things as you go, especially if you're reusing any content. The reading example would be one.
Clarification question. So are folders ways to organize student work and collections how you organize your assignments? Because I originally set up folders thinking that that was how I was going to organize my class assignments, but then they didn't go to those.
So
I confused the difference between folders and collections.
So I think if I understand correctly, what you're asking is the folders are just where you would put information or put specific types of assignments, reading, math, social studies, and all that. So that helps you stay organized when you want to go back and look later at all your social studies assignments.
Okay.
So that helps you stay organized when you want to go back and look at all your assignments.
So why don't we spend about 3 or 4 more minutes just trying out the editing, and then we can move on to sending announcements. And then we'll have some time to troubleshoot at the end. And remember, if you have questions later, Lauren and Liz will be happy to answer them. Just kidding. You can always email me too. Or you could email Lori. She's still smiling, so I'm getting away with it.
Like while they're trying that out, I don't have that option at the moment, but I have another question. So I looked at an assignment last night. It was like a crossword, like a math crossword puzzle. And I was trying to see it from the student's eyes, what the kid would actually see on their screen. And I finally got to the point where I see all the pencils and crayons and everything in the text box. But what they had to do is they had to put in like, they had to write in the words 57. But when you put that in the text box, it didn't translate over into the crossword puzzle. If I had the right settings, would that have worked? Or because it seemed like they were, they write the answer in the text box, but it's still just in the text box. So on their end, can they transfer that into the crossword puzzle?
My thought would be for them to do the crossword puzzle in the way that you want. They'd want to use the drawing feature.
Right, but my kids are little kids with special ed, and in order to draw using your mouse when you're 6.
Do you guys have touchscreens or no? So so you do have touchscreens on your Chromebooks, and I don't know how easily they can draw on a Chromebook versus an
so
iPad.
they'll have it on a Chromebook. They'll have a touchscreen. Okay, that's good to know.
And then they could draw that answer. Yeah, you're right. With a mouse, nobody can do that.
Is there a way for us to see what they see? Like I look at a worksheet here, and it looks like there might be 3 or 4 items on that page. How do I know if there are more than one page, or how do I know just what the student sees?
Right. So Lori's going to cover that in a moment, but you should be able to get a view of what they see.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going to push send announcements, how to do it. And then I think we'll go ahead and jump to Lori can show us what it looks like from the student point of view and some of the responses she gets from them. They'll give you a sense of what they see. So this is just for sending announcement. SeeSaw is a great way to communicate. You may not need to use email anymore. You can keep it all inside the app. And when parents usually access it from their phones, and then as it pops up on their phone, they often will look at it immediately because it's their child. Let's talk now about sending an announcement. Traditionally, we probably reach our parents by email, but once you get them on SeeSaw and they get so addicted to SeeSaw, especially the app, it might be easier for you to do all your communication through SeeSaw itself. To do that, you'll hit the Add button here, and you'll click on Send Announcement. And here's where you can pick who you want it to do. So I have this fake class here with just 2 students in it. So I can send it to students, which would be pretty helpful if they were older students, family members, or both of them. Type whatever you want here, and then you can add attachments, which as you can see, we've gone through this before. Maybe you want to upload a worksheet or something like that for them to do at home, or whatever, but this would just be for communication for people to see it, and you can change that and do whatever you want with it. Or if you have some policies or something that you want to send out, you could do that through an attachment. Hit send now, and away you go. So think about using SeeSaw as a way to communicate with parents, families, and students instead of email. And when you're back in school, it works super, super well to, like, if somebody comes into your classroom and you just want to show off what's happening in the classroom. If you have your phone, you can take quick pictures and just send it super fast. And parents love it because, again, they feel like they're inside the classroom with their child. All right, I'll skip ahead a little bit here. And see. Lori, do you want to just go ahead and show us what you got? Or do you want me to show this video first? How students see SeeSaw?
Show that video first.
Okay, so I'll show this first, and then Lori can show you some of the responses she's gotten and what it looks like. Let's look at SeeSaw from a student's perspective, or a student's point of view. So I've logged in here, and you can see I'm a student here in this test class, and I have a journal, activities, and then an inbox. Now, the journal is sort of a stream of things that the student will see where there's work from other students in the class. You can see there's work from sample student or whatever. And then I, as a student, can respond either by voice or type or whatever. If you want your students to be able to interact with each other, you can actually choose to turn that off if you want. Parents see something similar too, where they'll see all the work from their child, not other children, and then they can respond and give feedback, either written or a voice or whatever. Now, you can see here we have an activity as well. Now, that's this assignment here. So I'm going to click on activity. And this one is, the assignment is for students to watch and listen to me reading the story, and then to say, I don't know, 3 ways they use their iPad at home. And I click on Add Response, and see we're back to this here. And so students can take a picture, they can do a drawing, they can record a video, They can upload some work. So if they've done some work or something like that, you want them to upload that they've done online, they can do that. Or if they did a worksheet and you want to see that worksheet, you can ask them to take a picture of it. Here's where they could type something. Again, this is the same stuff that you use, right, when you're creating your own activities. And here's where they can add a link. And here's where they can view all the instructions for what they need to do. So students do that, they submit it, and then you as a teacher will see it in your stream. And when you see it in your stream, it's going to be up to you whether you approve it. If you approve it, then others in the stream can see it, or you can approve it and hide it if you want from there. So that's how students use it. Enjoy. All right, Laura, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I keep trying to hand off to you.
Okay. All right, let me go back. Okay, I'll go to Ming.
So you're showing us their responses, right?
Oh, yeah, one student.
So we can see Ming has 615 items, so he's been busy.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys saw some of this the other day. This is just one student's journal where all his work has been assigned. And so when I assigned Ming his activity, this is not his, this is the view I get from it, okay? And so I can see what he's done and I can comment on it. I can like it or I can comment, and I can comment with a microphone down here or with words. Okay, so it's a nice way to be able to reflect on your student work. Let me show you.
Can I ask you a quick question about that, Laura?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he used probably an iPad, right? And just wrote in those answers.
He did, yeah.
He didn't take a
but
picture.
I'm going to show you, I want to show you some other work that he's done. That's where I had it earlier. But then I was playing around with it. Where he took a picture of his work. So hold on. Okay, so this is a picture of work that he had done. They printed it off. He drew a picture and then took a picture, and that's how he responded to his assignment. Here he had to reflect on, we had a guest author come to our school, and he reflected on his work and drew a picture and posted that. So that's the view I see once he's turned in work. Here is another view that you would see as a teacher. So let me scroll down a little bit. Okay, so I think I showed you guys this the other day, the fish edition assignment. I assigned it to 2 students, and I could see now that 2 students responded. So I can click on it, and I can see who responded and click on each of their responses here. Okay, and then I can go through, and then again, I can comment, like, or respond in a way. So it just gives me that good formative feedback of where they're at.
So Lori, it looks like then from a teacher's point of view, it's not like you're seeing all the assignments that every student has submitted. You're seeing the assignments, you click on the assignment, then you see all the work from the students in there. So it's going to cut way back on how much stuff flows through there. Now, when you click on journal though, it's just everything, right? It's just a mass stream of everything that's been posted, right?
Yeah, and when you go to the activities, you can see each activity that you posted and who has responded. And it's good too, because you can see, okay, if you've got 21 students and only 18 have responded, you can see which ones haven't responded yet and give them that little push. So.
But it doesn't show you the ones that haven't responded, right? You have to figure that out, I bet.
Yeah, you figure it out.
Yeah, so it doesn't say, or more like Google Classroom, if you happen to use that, does that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
All right, thank you. Any questions?
I have a
Kate.
So for the littler ones, I've been trying to experiment with lessons to see how user-friendly they are for the littler ones. And I'm wondering, I only have a laptop, so I don't know what their experience is like on a touch screen. So for the written responses on my laptop, I have to click the mouse and hold it down. I can't even write letters with that. So I know that a 5-year-old without any fine motor skills is going to be able to.
Absolutely.
Are they able to just write it right on the screen with their finger, or I'm trying to adapt these things for the littler guys.
So we use iPads at our school. I see Kayla giving a big yes. So Kayla, do you have experience with the Chromebooks specifically?
I just know that if they ordered or have a Chromebook, then they should be able to do that. And I know that some of my students are using iPads at home instead of the Chromebook. So I think the majority will be able to just write directly on the screen.
Okay, so then like if they want to do the highlighter, they just put their finger, they click on the highlighter and then they do with their finger?
I think they're going to be able to pick it up probably faster than we can, right? Because they're really good with this tech stuff. They've been using it a lot. They know how to do all this stuff that we don't know.
Yeah.
My understanding though is your Chromebooks are touchscreens, and I don't know how sensitive they are. It depends on the quality of the Chromebook. If they have iPads at home, it's better actually that they would use that. And I think maybe your families probably have those sort of resources, if I'm right. And so if they can use iPads, those are better than Chromebooks generally, unless it's a high quality Chromebook.
They will have the fine motor skills to do the response.
Totally. And you'll see Lori works for an intensive learn, with kids with very high needs, and they're able to do it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I have a question about the activities in the library that are already created. So if we just grab one of those activities and then assign it to our class, are we supposed to leave that author's name on there, that teacher's name on there, or are we supposed to change it to ours?
Well, those things are in the community because teachers like you specifically thought, hey, it's a cool lesson. They checked a box that said, I want everybody else to use this. And I think the understanding is just use it with no problem. Now, it's up to you if you would feel more comfortable just to show credit, to give credit, you're welcome to do that, of course. But I don't think it's an expectation or requirement. Okay, that might be more helpful with older kids. Younger kids don't really understand that, but a fifth grader, maybe if you teach that or something.
I was just kind of thinking about how parents might react. I think it might throw them or the older students to see an activity come in with a stranger's name on it. But I was wondering if that's acceptable, especially if we alter it to put our name to it then.
Yeah. So it goes into the common good. So in that sense.
If you edit it, Becky, like the recording, like sometimes the directions, like I'll go in, and Lauren had taught me this, that you go in and if you record the directions in your name, it'll change it to your thing. It'll have your name on it if you've done that edit to put the directions or whatever in your name. But I also kind of just look at it like, we're like when we have curriculum from Bridges or whatever, that's the author of that and we're still using it. So I'm kind of looking at it as curriculum that's already been created that we're using. So parents have to understand we're not creating every single assignment.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks, Heidi.
I think the most important thing is that we tell ourselves whatever story we need to feel comfortable. That's why I'm going to go with that. All right, I'm going to share my screen to show you how to invite students and families. All right, here we go. You have this wonderful SeeSaw all set up, and now you want to invite parents and other family members to enjoy it and hang out in it. So how do you do that? Not too tough. Head over here to the wrench. I'm going to click on that. And then here's where you hit plus for families. By the way, this is plus for students. So I think students are going to be added by your administration on the back end, so you won't have to worry about that. In this case, you will have to worry about your families. So you can hit plus here for families. And if you know all their email addresses or phone numbers, you can just pop that in here. If for some reason they don't have one or you prefer to send a letter home, you can do that. You can print invites here and print them off and share them, or you can share an invite link. If you print it, it'll look something like this, and this is what you would send home. Since you're not going to have kids at school, you probably won't be sending it home. They'd have a QR code and all that. And once you have family members in there, then they can interact and they can comment on, and they can leave voice recordings and all these great things on the student work. Enjoy. And that you have this wonderful SeeSaw. That truly is the power of SeeSaw, is the parent-family connection. And parents and family members can share that out to they can create accounts for other family members, like grandparents and things.
Can the parents see what assignments the kids have done and which ones they have left to finish? So if a kid isn't turning in any assignments, will the parents be able to log in under their parent view and see that, or do they have to go to the student view?
They'd have to see it from the student view. So they're only going to see work that is completed and that you as a teacher have said, yes, that's okay. So, yeah. So, yeah, you're probably thinking, hey, they can just go in and log in and see what's missing and tell their kids to do it. But no, it only shows finished work.
But we can send an announcement. Could we send an announcement to an individual family?
Yes.
And just say, don't forget, you haven't turned in and parents and students would see that?
Well, you remember we had those options. I'm trying to think. I think actually, well, when you do the announcement feature, if I remember correctly, it actually sends it to everybody.
Yeah, you wouldn't do an announcement, but you can do an inbox message.
Inbox message.
Yeah.
And
that will go to the individual.
Yeah, the announcements is everything.
Okay. Lori, I had a question. While you were kind of scrolling through your journal or your assignments, you had something about RAS, and I'm assuming that you had linked an outside, so you were telling them that they needed to go to their RAS account and read, and then they could mark it complete. Can you show us how you do that? Because we have RAS and iReady and some other formats that we're going to use, and it would be nice if we could assign it in SeeSaw.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. I can't promise you that this is the most efficient way to do it. It was just the way that I did it. So
it's the most efficient if we believe it is. See, you should have just said it was the most efficient.
Let me see what I had here. Okay, so what I would do is I would go to, because all of my students were at different levels. So I would go, the student was on a level D. And so I went and picked 4 of his or 4 of the books and had him, and I just gave him some choice. So it said, choose one of these books each day, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then sign in. So he had to sign into his account, go to the assignments, read the assigned book, and take the quiz at the end. And then click the record button and tell me what this book was about. Now, when I was doing these, I didn't know about those embed codes that Mike had shared earlier. So, but had I known, I would have put that in so I could hit that little microphone button right here, just so he knows. And then if I could somehow get back on this thing, I could show you. So I'll show you. So then so they would click on their Raz Kids account. Let me see if it goes there. Yeah, and then they have to log in. But you know how you can assign different books to different kids, right? So they would go to their account and find their books that were assigned. So that's how I did it, and it worked quite well.
Did you just copy the picture of the books?
Yeah, I just took it. So I took, I found the books, and then I just, you know how to take a screenshot? I just took a screenshot of the books that I wanted them to read that week. And
so it's a lot more appealing to see that photo than it is just the title.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the power of SeeSaw, and it takes a while to kind of get this ingrained in the brain, but the power of SeeSaw is that you really can assign anything that you would assign in your general classroom, you can assign on SeeSaw. Now this, I heard you guys talking about bridges earlier. This is a bridges assignment. You know, so I just went to their the online version and copied it and put it on here. So
this is more of kind of an overall question, but unfortunately, we'll be using, I mean, fortunately and fortunately, we'll be using several different programs, right? So we've got RAS, we've got iReady, we have Bridges. SeeSaw will be kind of our main platform. And then once we get Fuel Ed, we'll have that too. So how do you organize your students' work? If I put everything into SeeSaw, would my students be able to see all the assignments that are due that day, or does it show them all the assignments that I've assigned them? Is there a way to organize it so they could see kind of this is their checklist for today without actually writing out this is your daily to do, especially for the younger kids? I think just saying go to SeeSaw. What are your recommendations for that?
Yeah, I would recommend, it's tricky. From what I saw, so I'm a special ed teacher, so mine was very different, but what our general ed teachers did, our kindergarten, first grade, second grade teachers, they generally had one website that was kind of the kids' schedule for the day. So that was kind of their landing pad. They went to that, have you seen those Bitmoji classrooms? So that some people have those, other people just have a basic checklist of, it's 7 in the morning, do this. It's 8 in the morning, do this. Click on this link. So I would recommend that as your landing pad. And then SeeSaw is where they go for their assignments to do.
And then just include all assignments. So like if I, like how you do RAS, read these 4 books and then respond. Complete an assignment in iReady and then respond. So everything that you've assigned, they come back to SeeSaw to submit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. SeeSaw is the collection of the work.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's people in here doing Bitmoji classrooms. Kayla, you're doing one, right? So I could show an example of what that looks like. So the idea of a landing page is really helpful because then the parents and everybody know what the expectations are for the day. So like this is an example, by the way, of a Bitmoji classroom. So you could change the whiteboard, what goes on it every day. So you just have something that you repeat over and over.
It's hard to wrap my mind around. And I think that kind of we're all in the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
Visualizing, especially, so that our families aren't too overwhelmed with how we're organizing all of it. So any tips that you can give us from experience? That was one of the things that parents said in the spring that was very hard for them, with so much information coming at them and so many different links and so many different platforms that we're using. We're still using all of those. So anything that you can kind of guide us with would be really helpful. Any tips?
If we could keep it all on that landing page, all the links that they're clicking on the landing page. And I've seen teachers just simply have a list of their day, and that helps a lot of families, right? So, and at this time you do this, at this time you do this. That's really a nice, simple way for parents to know exactly what to do. Others have just like a grid by subject. And so it might say math, click here, and then it shows all the assignments and the videos that you make to go along with the assignments in that math section. So it kind of depends like what grade level you're at and what your families respond best to. But whatever you do, my biggest thing is don't have the kids plan their day. Like, don't just say, finish all these activities today. Actually have a plan for them of when they should have them finished, how much time it should take, how to get started, tips on all that type of thing.
Can we see that landing page and see the assignment, like the how they formatted the assignments for the day?
Could you tell me that again? Sorry, Lisa.
Michael shared that.
The Bitmoji.
Could we see what that landing page of assignments looks like?
Yeah, I just actually pulled that off of the web just to show a sample of it. So just going back a step, and I bet we could get Kayla to help because she's taking a class that helps her with this sort of stuff.
I was
Kayla,
going to say, if you are somebody that wants to do a Bitmoji page, there are great YouTube how-tos that I can share. But also keep in mind We have about 3 days till the first day, so maybe don't be trying to create a Bitmoji classroom at this point right
I
now.
think maybe Michael misunderstood my question. I
Oh,
don't want to
I did too.
page. I want when you're talking about assignment landing page, to see an example of hey, this is what we're doing for the day, how it was organized and set up.
I think that's like what we did last year when we did our checklist, our daily checklist that they went in and did.
Yep,
Mike,
I
that we
noticed
have
that
a frame.
second grade has
Hagen-
one. Second grade has one set up. Third grade has one set up. So maybe go to our school website and check out what other teachers have.
I could talk a little bit about it too. So I mean, so a landing page, just basically you want parents and kids to go to a place where they can answer the question, what am I supposed to do today, right? And am I sharing my screen?
You have
Let me
Ed
share my
Hagen.
screen. I don't have it up though right now. I'd have to dig it up. So sharing my screen here, you could either use a Google Doc where you just type, 8 o'clock,
Right.
Complete whatever assignments you want, and then you could have and you could say that assignment is in SeeSaw with a link to seesaw.me, and then 9 o'clock complete this assignment with a link to seesaw.me, and then maybe 10 o'clock watch this video, which may or may not even be in SeeSaw, and respond to it. Maybe it's a story that you read or something like this. And if you did it on a slide or a Google Doc like this, you could put the date in there, and then you could just keep adding to this document, and then parents just have one link that they go to, and then they can see the work from the past as well. And that would just be a really super basic way just to get started, because you have 3 days left and you just need to get going. And then if you have time and it's fun for you, you can start adding and making more creative things, such as the Bitmoji classrooms and things like that.
Can't SeeSaw itself be the landing place?
It can, but it doesn't. The problem is it's hard to tell. You could have an assignment in SeeSaw that tells them exactly what they're supposed to do at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever. But then when they start scrolling down and around, they get lost in it. So if you have one landing page that they always come back to, that's static and that it never really changes, the address for that doesn't change, they can always go back to it. Where in SeeSaw, it's gonna get lost in the flow, and they're gonna like, where was that? Oh, that's yesterday's. Oh, wait a minute, that's 3 days ago. Or they go back to that landing page and it says the date of the day and the exact 5 to whatever 10 things they need to do for the day. Does that help? Like I use a website personally, mrbull.com, right? And so I have all my students work on that.
Can you show that?
Sure. So just keep it.
Yours is different because you're middle school.
Right.
Right.
And if I was using SeeSaw, and I don't for assignments in middle school, I would link to it. But like, here's all my coding lessons here. And so for my students, they go to mrbull.com, again, they're middle school, so they can remember that, /coding. And then these are every day's assignments. So if they missed a day, they'd go back a day and they can see what they're supposed to do. And I'm just teaching one block, right? Where you teach all day long. I teach multiple blocks of the same. And this is all the work they have to do. So they would click there and then it goes off to where their assignment is.
Mike, click that.
Yep.
Please.
Sure.
That right there, Lisa, is a great example. So the overview and then the assignment and in order, right? So if you did that for each topic of the day, that's a great way to set it up.
And if you did that on a Google Doc or a Google slide, that would probably be the easiest way to do it, because you just would have the same exact information and everybody would understand it. It may not look super awesome at the beginning, but it'll be super helpful and useful. And then from there, you can adjust it.
So can I ask a question?
Sure.
So I'm a specialist and I meet virtually, but I don't necessarily have assignments. Would I just then give them the link to my Meet and not have to go through SeeSaw? Would that be the best way for me to do that? Or would I somehow link my Meet to SeeSaw?
Would you be using SeeSaw at all?
I mean, I can, but I don't think I need to. I think teachers too, I'd love to hear what you guys think. I mean, would you rather me just send you my Meet code and you can embed it in your daily plan, or?
Are you going to be
that would be the
meeting
best
with
way.
kids pretty regularly?
It's going to be
a regular schedule.
I will. Well, I'm following the special schedule.
I think what we need to decide, and this can be after, we should decide if we're doing a checklist or not. And maybe different grades decide different things. But if we're doing a checklist, then specialists can just include their links on the checklist. If not, then SeeSaw is probably the easiest. So that way families aren't having to find an email. We can just get it. So, but we can decide, do we need to all do the same? Can we do different? And we should also decide, are we sending our weekly parent emails through SeeSaw and our specialists also going to do that? Or are we using our email? So we should decide both of those. If someone can help me remember, because I'll forget.
I'll help you
Great.
remember that, Michelle. I'm going to write a note. And are we having a debrief, like as a staff or a K through 4 and specialist, to figure this stuff out so that we all know what we're doing?
Michael, can you answer that question for us?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I think a debrief is great. I also think it's probably best to do it in small teams of people that you generally work with anyways, so that you can have quick questions outside of that debrief period. It would be good to have some consistent policies, though, just generally on expectations. So if you had a landing page as an expectation at some point for all the teachers, that would probably be a best practice, I would think. And then also deciding how you're going to communicate, whether that's going to be through SeeSaw or through email. I think SeeSaw is probably the best way to do it, as long as you all plan to use SeeSaw in some way as well, which you probably will in elementary school. And then that pushes the parents and forces them to make sure they sign up for accounts. Otherwise, you'll get some parents say, well, I kind of like this way or that way. It's like, no, here's the one way, and we're just going to push everything down that direction.
Yeah, that makes sense that we should probably meet in small groups, but I do think if everyone's okay with this, I think it would be great for all K through 4 teachers and specialists to meet sometime before we launch everything to make sure that we're all in agreement with how specialists are going to push out our material, what platforms we're going to use, what landing places. Otherwise, also specialists won't know where to find everything or what to do. Is that okay with everybody?
That sounds great, Becky. I'd be interested in doing that if everybody's in. We could just set up a meeting.
Yeah, that sounds good to me too.
Will there be donuts? Michelle said yes.
I hope
Michael
so.
said he was bringing them. He was delivering them to all of our houses. It was very nice of him.
Nice. I'll put in my order. I hope we can come over to Bend. It's not a problem.
Maybe just donut emojis.
Any other, I know that your time is up, any other kind of organizational, I think that's probably where all of us are struggling the most, is how to navigate with our families all of these different things, especially for, these younger kids that haven't really signed in. We're asking them to sign in and out of like 10 different places all day.
Right. Okay. So here's what I would do, and it's going to be a bit of a repeat myself. And we probably should have brought this up, and I'm glad. I think it was Lori who really pushed this. Is to have one place that they go, one landing page, and make that a Google Doc. It's something simple if you want. It just tells the parents what to do every day. And from there, they have the 5 things they need to do with a link off to each of it. And you can put a little parenthesis that says, here's how you log in or whatever. And then they always have a place to come back to when they get lost in the stream of things. They'll pick it up, and within a week or two, they're going to be fine, because you'll be in a flow of how you distribute content, and they'll be in a flow of how to look at it. And since that should all work out and be fine, I think. But if again, just have that one landing page that they all come back to. My only concern for you guys is, since you're doing Gmail all the way down to the younger grades, is that the younger grades might have problems logging in, and that you may end up wanting to switch to home learning codes, which they would only type one. They type like a 10 numbers or 8 numbers. I'm not sure how many digits it is, and that's all, instead of having to remember their username and then their password. So, but of course, once they do it once, it kind of automatically logs in. But
if we've already set them up with their Gmail, can we then give them the home learning code if it's not working, and they won't need any of their information, and we don't have to do extra work?
Yeah, you have to set them with the Gmail in the beginning, just so that they have an account and they can identify this, that there's this account exists. But then you can switch to those home learning codes, and I have links to that on my website, and then that's also. I have links to how to do it on my website, and you'll see it inside of SeeSaw when you're in there.
Can we send out the parent invites before we launch it for students? Like, can we send that out so that they can get like LinkedIn and then wait before like the day before school to launch students?
I believe so. I want to say yes, because as soon as your students are in your classroom, if you see them in the classroom, they're there. So your parents should be able to log in. Now, they won't really see anything because you won't have approved any work.
Michael, are the kids able to save their information once they log in, and then we don't have to worry about it ever again? Or is that not an option?
Probably. Depending on how they use their device and all that kind of stuff, but most likely.
Okay,
Yeah,
And
Sharon, that's what I was hoping for as well, where they could just click something and save username and password and not have to worry about it again.
so there's a good chance that will happen.
Some
And
of you had asked for videos on training parents and younger children, so I placed those on the side in the chat. So if you can, Mike, you want to add those to your website? That they can
sure.
later.
So absolutely, I'll show some stuff on the website as well in a moment. One thing I remember some teachers in my school, what they often would do is not send out the parent links until there were 2 or 3 pieces of work in there. Because otherwise the parents might write back, say, it's not working, there's nothing in there. And you're like, well, I haven't approved anything, et cetera, et cetera. So you might want to wait on that. There's not a huge rush to do that. The main thing is to get those kids' accounts set up, and the parents can help them with that. And then teach the parents the concept that there's 2 accounts. There's one for your child and there's one for you. Or I'm worried if you send them both at the same time, they might intermingle the 2 and say, I've logged in, I don't see any work. It's because you're in the parent one. Oh, kind of thing.
And,
We
and
have
just
another Google Meet. Sorry. I was going to say we have another meet at 10 o'clock, and I would love to have a bathroom break. So I'm going to go, and you guys can do what you want. Thank you, Michael and Lori. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I was just going to say, for ease of mind, we're also parents of a son who has SeeSaw, and all I remember is scanning a QR code and I was in, and I haven't had to do anything since. It's just
it's super easy.
on my phone, and I have it at all times. So from the parent view, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of complaints having to troubleshoot that. That wasn't even on my mind. So,
So
all right. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering if how or when would be a good time for me to help to troubleshoot some of this stuff, like sending an assignment.
Do you want to do it right now?
Sure. I
Okay,
can
I'll
share
just
my
get,
screen.
before people take off, I just want to show again the website, mrbull.com/Riverdale. And then here's all the screencasts that you saw, plus a few others. I've added some that I didn't do as well in here. And then the links are down here. And here's how to do home learning codes. Here's how to get the icon shortcuts and all that kind of stuff. So it's all there for your reference. But you can always drop me an email as well. And it's michael@bullnet.com. And I think there it is. So it's my first name and then almost my last name, bullnet.com. So thank you so much, everybody. If anybody doesn't have any last minute questions, I think that's about it. And then we can help Sue out.
Thank you so much.
All right. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Go get them.
Thank you.
From today. Maybe not on Monday, but. All right, Sue, do you want to share your screen?
Yep. Okay. Now, see, I don't use Zoom, so I've got it open down here in a new window.
Do you see a share screen button on the bottom?
Yep, I did that. And then it says desktop 1, whiteboard, iPhone.
You have to
So
click the one that you want to share. So click on
so
tabs
for
that
the
I
one.
saved down in my doc.
So click
you-
the one that you want to share.
You should see it on there.
No, okay. Because the choices are desktop, whiteboard, iPhone, iPad, or brother, print and scan, unknown.
Try your desktop.
Okay.
And we can direct you from there.
Okay, so share screen, desktop 1, open system preferences. Yep, okay, I guess so. And now I'm back to you again. I don't want security and privacy settings. No.
Are you on a PC or a Mac?
A Mac.
Okay. If it's asking you those things, just say, okay, okay, okay.